Good afternoon, everyone. Later today, President Trump and the First Lady will welcome King Charles and Queen Camilla for a state visit here at the White House. First Lady Melania Trump has led all of the preparation for the state visit, which will honor the long-standing and special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. As I told many of you on Friday afternoon, I thought that would be my last time taking your questions until after my maternity leave. But given the attempted assassination of the president and, quote, top Trump administration officials, as the depraved shooter noted in his manifesto at the White House Correspondents Association dinner on Saturday evening.
Yeah, so a guy named Colin Allen from California, AI intern at NASA, programmer, teacher of the month as well, pretty much drove from California, not drove, but took a train from California to Washington, D.C. to take out Trump and his officials. So, yeah, there was that went down. And he also wrote a manifesto calling Trump, a pedo, a traitor, a rapist, and all this good stuff. And this is why he committed to, trying to assassinate the president.
Evening. I felt it was prudent to be here today to answer your questions and inform the American people about how the administration is responding to yet another attempt on President Trump's life. Saturday was supposed to be a joyful evening, celebrating free speech and the First Amendment with all of you, members of the press. Instead, the night was hijacked by a crazed anti-Trump individual who traveled across the country to assassinate the president and as many administration officials as possible. This is the third major assassination attempt against President Trump in 2 years.
Literally.
No other.
So we got Thomas Crooks, Ryan Ralph, and now Colin Allen. I mean, two white guys and a black guy have now officially came for Trump's life. Crazy. Guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation. Double tapping that screen and smashing the like button.
President in history has faced such repeated, serious attempts on his life. First and foremost, the president, the first lady, and everyone in this White House are extraordinarily grateful to the brave law enforcement professionals who sprang into action to apprehend the would-be assassin and keep all of us safe. The president would especially like to express his gratitude to the men and women of the United States Secret Service who acted with the utmost professionalism, courage, and sense of duty. This includes the heroic agent who took a bullet to the chest. Thankfully, he was saved by his bulletproof vest.
Thank God. And thank God, because here's the thing, though. The guy wrote in his manifesto, Colin Allen, the guy who pretty much came for Trump's life, he wrote in his manifesto that all Secret Service, he's going to be shooting, center body mass. He literally wrote a manifesto like, so I'm going to, what was that? I think he said he's going to use buckloads instead of, I think, bull shots instead of slugs. So, it's not going to go ahead and penetrate them all the way, or, less penetration. So he pretty much was planning or hoping or praying on the fact that the Secret Service was going to have their vests. Because if not, that guy would have died. But he did write in his manifesto, surprisingly, that, I'm going to start shooting the Secret Service at center mass. And then he was even wilder when he said, when I get to the president, anybody who try to stop me, fair game. I was like, okay, he's serious. Obviously, he wrote a manifesto.
After returning here to the White House, to the Oval Office, despite fighting Secret Service to try to...
Thank you. I said bullshot, didn't I? Buckshots, yeah.
...stay and keep the dinner going on Saturday. Ahead of addressing you here in the briefing room, President Trump was intent on speaking to this brave agent to ensure he was okay. And the agent assured the president that he was. As you know, I was seated next to President Trump and the First Lady when the shots were fired before Secret Service swiftly moved us to safety backstage. The president's calm in the face of chaos, while yet another individual was trying to take his life, was really remarkable to witness, and it's something I will never forget. President Trump is fearless because he...
Hey guys, let's try to condemn all political violence here, guys. Like, we don't support anybody trying to kill our president. Like, guys, let's be real. If somebody tried to kill Biden, I would be outraged. Even if Kamala won, if somebody tried to kill Kamala, I would be outraged. But so let's just keep this energy, just keep that consistency there. We shouldn't want to wish death on everybody. As much as y'all don't like Trump, y'all shouldn't want to wish death on him. I mean, shit, y'all can go ahead and wish jail time on him, but death is a bit too far, don't you think?
loves this country, and he is willing to put his own life on the line to deliver on the promises that he made to the American public who elected him here into the highest office in the land. And while we are blessed to have a fearless president, we should not live in a country where such constant fear of political violence permeates our society every single day. We can and we should have fierce disagreement in this country. As you all know, we disagree often, myself in this role and all of you in the news media. But those disagreements must remain peaceful. Debating, peaceful protesting, and voting are how we need to settle disagreements, not bullets. Nobody in recent years has faced more bullets and more violence than President Trump. This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. This hateful and constant and violent rhetoric directed at President Trump day after day after day for 11
guys, let's just keep it real. I mean, and I know I have Dems, independents, and Republicans all watching. Shout out to you guys. But let's keep it real, guys. We shouldn't want to wish death on the president. We should condemn this, because let's be real. If we can't condemn this, then we are heading towards civil war. If you guys are green lighting that it's okay to commit political violence just because you don't like Trump, then you are walking us into a civil war at a certain point. I know I'm being a bit extreme about it, but I'm just telling you what this leads to and what the end result is before it happens.
7 years has helped to legitimize this violence and bring us to this dark moment. Those who constantly falsely label and slander the president as a fascist, as a threat to democracy, and compare him to Hitler to score political points are fueling this kind of violence. The left-wing cult of hatred against the president and all of those who support him and work for him has gotten multiple people hurt and killed, and it almost did so again this weekend. When you read the manifesto of this shooter, ask yourselves, how different is the rhetoric from this almost assassin than what you read on social media and hear in various forums every single day? The answer, if you're being honest with yourself, is that there is no difference at all.
I mean, yeah, but all right. I mean, she got a point. That's a really good point. And I want to sit there and say that, but yeah, but most people aren't going to act out like that. So let's keep it real. Most Dems aren't going to act out like that, even though they do speak like that. Just like, bro, even you guys in the chat, my man Colin Allen, you guys think the same way he do, but maybe not as extreme. Hopefully not as extreme. Because yes, you guys do say rapist, pedophile, traitor. I mean, damn, are you guys willing to go out there and do the same thing he do? Like, you're willing to go out there and try to take out the president? And if so, I advise you get help.
Much of the manifesto of the would-be assassin is indistinguishable from the words that we hear daily from so many. For example, as the First Lady of the United States pointed out this morning, just 2 days prior to the shooting, ABC's late-night host Jimmy Kimmel disgustingly called First Lady Melania Trump an expectant widow. Who in their right mind says a wife would be glowing over the potential murder of her beloved husband? And having experienced what I did with the First Lady on Saturday night, I can tell you that she was
angry. There's something up with Kimmel, bro. I don't know what's wrong with him. What was it? It was a Charlie Kirk joke. Like, I mean, that one didn't go well, where he tried to insinuate that the killer was a Republican or MAGA, when that wasn't true. And then now what? He's making jokes about Melania Trump being happy at her husband's death. I mean, yeah, that goes a bit too far, Dems. I mean, yeah, like I say, y'all got to be able to call y'all guys out. Y'all can't just allow such vicious attitudes towards Trump and not sit there and be like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, this could get a bit extreme, or this could turn into extremism. Like with Colin Allen, just like with let's like with Thomas Crooks. These guys are just regular people who disagree with Trump, and then they get a bit extreme, and now they're going out there trying to kill the president. Here's the thing: she's right. Which dare say what they write in their manifestos. I'm sorry, but what Colin Allen wrote in his manifesto isn't too far from what I'll be seeing in the chat on a daily. Like, just being real. And I'm hoping you guys aren't like that. And if you are, like I said, get help.
Anything but that. This kind of rhetoric about the president, the First Lady, and his supporters is completely deranged, and it's unbelievable that the American people are consuming it night after night after night. As President Trump said on Saturday night at this podium, we as Americans must recommit ourselves to resolving our differences peacefully and uniting around the shared values that make our country great. The deranged lies and smears against the president, his
Oh,
family.
guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
His supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things, and they are inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop.
Massive.
And one more point. Saturday night served as yet another reminder of how important it is to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It is shameful that the United States Congress has kept this vital agency defunded for 73 days, the longest shutdown of a federal agency in U.S. history. The Secret Service is a vital component of DHS, and it has been directly impacted by this reckless political gamesmanship. Everyone in this room who was there on Saturday night witnessed the heroes of Secret Service and federal law enforcement jump into action in the face of grave danger and uncertainty. Agents put their own lives in harm's way to protect the president, the first lady, the vice president, and members of the cabinet. One agent can be seen in video footage literally jumping onto the stage, not knowing where the attacker was or where the bullets were coming from at that point, to place his body in front of the president of the United States. These men and women are heroes. They perform their duties daily, and they have children and families too. And they do it despite the political turmoil surrounding their agency. Make no mistake, this defunding of DHS should be a national scandal. If Republicans
I mean, here's a problem, and I think even them should agree. It is pretty effed up to sit there and hold hostage the American people, their paychecks, because you want to get your way in government or you want to get your way with ICE. It is not cool to sit there and make all of DHS, almost all of DHS, except for ICE, go without a paycheck because you can't get ICE reforms. I mean, y'all got to try a different way instead of holding the American people hostage just because you can't get your way. You did it with the last time, and I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't think people's buying it. Like, y'all guys can't keep voting no to open up the government, pretty much voting no for people to get paid and get their benefits, and then sit there and try to blame the Republicans all the time. Like, you guys were the one with the demands, just like you're the ones with the demands now, and you still can't take accountability for making people go without pay because you want to sit there and be able to use Americans as leverage, as cards, with no accountability, because you know your base will never sit there and say that you're wrong for it.
Funded DHS, and we saw in another attempted assassination on a Democrat president. I would hope that the media coverage would be relentless and unforgiving, and I hope that it continues to be now. With the World Cup, America 250, the 2028 Olympics, and a presidential election all ahead, the Democrats' obstruction is placing an enormous and totally pointless burden on the Secret Service that can get more people killed. Enough is enough. There should be no further debate about this. Democrats need to do what President Trump has been calling on them to do for 73 days in a row and fund the Department of Homeland Security, period. This is a national emergency, and every member of Congress needs to put their country over party and get the Department of Homeland Security funded. With that, I will take a few of your questions today. Daniel, thank you for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
I do agree, because like it is putting party over country when you're shutting down the government, making sure people who work for the government don't get paid because you want to, I guess play party politics, try to get your way in the government. Yeah, you shouldn't be using the American people as leverage for that.
Thank you, Caroline. The president Saturday after the assassination attempt came here. He emphasized that law enforcement did their job, keeping everyone safe at dinner. House Speaker Mike Johnson came out and said he believes the president needs greater protection. What is the White House's message to the millions of Americans who wake up here today nervous, uneasy about the safety of the president at events like this and safety of other cabinet members?
Well, we certainly understand their fears and their worries. As you heard from the president himself, he continues to have trust in the United States Secret Service. As I just said, these are great men and women who are doing their jobs and performing their duties honorably. As we all witnessed on Saturday evening, within minutes, the president, the first lady, the vice president, members of the president's cabinet were ushered out of the room. The perpetrator who sought to inflict massive harm, as we all now know with the release of the manifesto on administration officials and the president himself, was stopped at the security parameter that was set up. He tried to charge through it, as you saw on video, and he was quickly neutralized by Secret Service, and thank God that he was. With that said, obviously, the White House is always asking the tough questions and ensuring the safety of the president. I understand there will be a meeting early this week convened by the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, with top DHS leadership, members of the United States Secret Service, and our own operations team here to ensure the safety and the security of the president, as we do have many of these major events moving forward. So we're always monitoring operations and procedures, always asking the tough questions to ensure the president is safe, and the American people should be assured there's no higher priority for the president and his staff than the president's safety.
Caroline, Friday you said that you thought that gaggle out of the sticks would be your last one before your baby. Back in 2024, when the president had the attempt on his life in Butler, you cut your maternity leave short back then. You're obviously back here today after Saturday. Can you just elaborate a little bit why you felt it was important to be here to bring to the media and talk to the American people from the stand?
Sure. It's sort of crazy timing when you put it that way for both children with 2 assassination attempts against the president. I'm honored to work in this job. I view this job as the president's spokesperson and the White House spokeswoman as public service. It's not just any job. I'm honored to do it, and I'm honored to work and speak on behalf of President Trump, who has faced unprecedented adversity and challenges, and I'm honored to work for him. And again, as I witnessed on Saturday night, just his dogged resolve and determination to get back onto the stage, and he was pushing Secret Service and law enforcement to allow him to address, and that really, I think, hopefully gives the country the type of strength that we need. And I certainly know, as his spokeswoman, and I can speak on behalf of all of the staff here at the White House, the president inspires all of us to just keep going and keep fighting every day. Thanks, Daniel. And congrats to you on your new baby. He's beautiful. Aisha.
Just from the rhetoric, you mentioned the First Lady and Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's comments were, Mrs. Trump.
And you know, so crazy though, it's kind of crazy because people are trying to call this, you know, staged, like, oh, he staged it, set. Don't you know his numbers are down, which they are, and he just needs something to rally people behind him. And I'm like, guys, I'm gonna be real with you, I think it's a bit too late for that. Honestly, let's just go with the regular story here until we hear something different. That some crazy guy from California got radicalized and thought it was okay to take a train all the way over to DC and try to take out the president. We're not going to say it's staged until further notice. Like, come on now. I mean, people are trying to say that Butler's staged now, but I mean, you know, Dem's been saying that at the beginning. No, let me ask a question. Do y'all really think it was staged? I'm going to put a poll up.
You have a glow like an expectant widow. And he said this days before the shooting, but there does seem to be a normalization of rhetoric about assassinating this particular president. How can this administration try to put an end to this?
Well, I think you heard it directly from the president on Saturday night, Aisha, that in his words, we need to recommit ourselves as a country to toning down the rhetoric and to unifying around what makes our country great. That's true of everyone who works in this White House. But as I said, it's also true of everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen. And when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things. And unfortunately, it's not just the media, it is the entire Democrat Party has made their pitch to voters across the country that Donald Trump poses an existential threat to democracy, that he is a fascist, and that they compare him to Hitler. I mean, these are despicable statements that the American people have been consuming for years.
And I'll be real with you, I always never agree with the whole, oh, Trump is Hitler, he's a fascist. Like, I never agree with that type of language because it's too extreme. It's like you're literally comparing him to a man who killed 6 million people. So, and Trump, trust me, he ain't killed like no 6 million people. So that's crazy to sit there and say. I mean, you're still allowed to call this man a pedophile and a rapist and not get arrested. So, I mean, I'm not sure he was able to do that in Nazi Germany. Actually, I'm almost sure he wasn't able to talk crazy about the leader and, you know, still be out there in the streets, still be able to out there and post or write in a newspaper. So I'm sorry, but you can't even make the comparison, honestly. Like, you can sit there and disagree with the president, but sitting there and using that extreme language, it only discredits what you're saying. It's really hard to listen to somebody who's calling the president a Nazi when we're not under a Nazi or authoritarian regime whatsoever, or your ass would be in jail. The fact that you're speaking out against Trump freely, like without being put in jail or being censored or having your account taken down for, going against an authoritarian figure, then, what you're saying is kind of dumb. It doesn't make any sense, and it's extreme. So if you're going to use that type of language, I'm honestly not going to take your criticism of Trump seriously. Just going to be real with you.
And so many mentally perturbed individuals are led to believe these words are truth and then are inspired to act on it. I have a whole host of examples that we can share with you after. It is pages and pages of major Democrat Party elected officials saying, such as Rep. Hakeem Jeffries just this month said, "We are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere all the time." Governor Josh Shapiro said heads need to roll within the administration. Senator Alex Padilla said people are, quote, dying because of fear and terror caused by the Trump administration. Senator Elizabeth Warren, President Trump is making the country look like a, quote, fascist state. Senator Adam Schiff saying President Trump using a dictator playbook. Senator Ed Markey calling President Trump a dictator, saying that this administration's actions are authoritarianism on steroids. Governor J.B. Pritzker, never before in my life have I called for mass protest disruptions. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. You have Rep. Presley saying, "We'll see you in the streets." Rep. Monica McIver.
Bro, it's the crash out vibe. It's like, and this is the problem, is that you guys cannot expect to be taken seriously when you have this crash out mentality about Trump. I mean, talk about going to the streets, talking about heads rolling, using very threatening language towards the administration. I mean, bro, we got Democrats talking about how, oh yeah, we're going to start locking up ICE officers when Trump's out. That's how you start a civil war. That's how you get people to start fearing for their lives if Democrats ever take power. And that's where you're going to start seeing a rebellion if you actually carry that shit out. So y'all got to tone that down. And y'all got to understand that, bro, people are just working for the government and that's it. Just because they're working under Trump don't say that they're under a Nazi regime. Because if they're doing the same thing under Biden or Obama, you wouldn't be saying that shit. Actually, let's use ICE as an example. ICE was doing the same thing, the same exact thing under Obama than Trump. And you guys said nothing about it. You want to know why? Because you didn't have your phones all up in ICE's face like this, like, ooh, look what they're doing. So please stop it.
A Democrat representative on Capitol Hill, "We will not take this shit from Donald Trump. He thinks he's a dictator. We are at war." These are Democrat elected officials calling for war against the president of the United States and his supporters. I could go on and on, but again, when you have people in positions of power that are saying things like this every single day for years, you are inspiring violence by people who are already mentally ill. And that's what we've seen against this president for far too long.
This is disinformation and misinformation online. There will be bite-sized clips that will go viral to the point where there are Americans in this country that believe that what happened Saturday night was staged. How does this White House tackle that with social media companies out there, whether it's X, Facebook, Instagram? How do they work with these companies to make sure that doesn't get out of control?
It's certainly a good question, Aisha. I don't have tangible answers for you on what we're doing with social media companies, if anything at all. What I will say is it's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible to dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see running rampant online. And I think the Department of Justice and the FBI thus far have done a good job of disseminating the truth and the facts about this alleged attempted assassin, the perpetrator. And
make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen, and make sure to hit that icon above to go and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going.
This case, and I understand he'll be arraigned in court very soon. You all see that, in the Department of Justice will be giving a briefing and an update later today. So as far as we're concerned, just providing maximum transparency, and hopefully people will believe the truth rather than the lies and the conspiracies that so often do go crazy on social media. Rachel.
Thanks, Caroline. Does the administration view this as a security failure, or did the protocols work as they were designed?
The president has said he believes that the protocols worked. Again, you had a perpetrator who tried to breach the security parameter that was set up by Secret Service, and he was running as fast as he could and was immediately neutralized moments later. And again, having been right up there on the stage with the president and the first lady, I can tell you it was seconds before we were told to get down, and it was seconds before we found ourselves in the hold room backstage. It all happened literally within a matter of seconds. The president, the vice president, and the first lady being pulled to safety. That is not done if there's a lapse. So Secret Service did their jobs well. They communicated with one another to remove the president and the vice president to safety as quickly as they could, and obviously to neutralize the shooter as well. And thank God they did, because if that man was allowed into that ballroom, it would have been a much different scene.
And just one more follow-up on just how the White House could be rethinking security protocols going forward. I mean, we all remember after the attempted assassination in Butler, there were indoor rallies that were held after that. Is that out of the question, changing any additional security protocols when it comes to how the president does these events that are outside of the White House?
I definitely wouldn't say changes are out of the question. I think, again, that it's up to the White House here, and we view it as a great responsibility to ensure the maximum safety of the president and the vice president and the entire cabinet. And so we're always looking for ways to improve security. I think if you just sit here and say everything is perfect all the time, that's not a good way to operate. And so the White House will continue to engage with DHS and with Secret Service to find ways to improve and strengthen security. But as far as Saturday night is concerned, the president was satisfied with the response, and he's very grateful to the men and women who provided the response for him and his wife and members of his team.
Deanne. Thanks, Caroline. The president has talked about rescheduling the dinner within 30 days. Does he have a specific venue in mind? And would he consider hosting it at the White House?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a room big enough here at the White House, which is another point to be made. And the president is absolutely right. It's why the White House Ballroom Project.
Oh, my God, bro. I'm sorry, but why do I see like every MAGA account on X pretty much talk about this is why we need the ballroom. The ballroom is needed. It's like, oh, my God. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's no way y'all using this assassination attempt as a way to sell the ballroom to the American people. I mean, can we focus on the political violence aspect of this and try to get down with that, try to solve that before we worry about a ballroom?
Is not just a fun project for President Trump, like you will read in the media. It is actually critical for our national security that a larger, secure building on this complex, which is the most secure complex in the world, is built to accommodate not only large amounts of guests, but also the president, the vice president, members of the cabinet. The line of succession in this country should be able to gather freely in safety without the fear of threats or political violence. And the White House Ballroom will provide that. And so it's critical that we get this project done as quickly as possible.
Iran as well.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions, if that's all right. First, on the security situation on Saturday, kind of a follow-up here. Previous administrations have sent both the president and the vice president to the dinner. But after the foiled attack on Saturday, if the dinner is rescheduled, would President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance both plan on attending? And is it wise to have both of them in the same spot, given the presidential line of succession you mentioned a second ago?
It's definitely a good question, and I know that it's one that will be raised. I can assure you the president intends to attend the event, as he has told all of you publicly. I don't want to rule in or out the vice president's attendance, but certainly that's a conversation that will take place.
And Iran has proposed a mutual reopening of the Strait, leaving the nuclear discussion for later in the process. Given that the nuclear program has been a red line for this administration, would the president agree?
So on updates to that, Iran has pretty much stated that, look, man, if you guys are going to pull up trying to talk about our nuclear enrichment program, then we're just not even going to engage with you guys. We're pretty much saying, look, we'll open up the strait if you guys remove the naval blockade. If not, then it's going to remain closed. We can continue talks, but we're not talking about our nuclear enrichment program. And apparently we're getting down with that Saturday. Yeah. I mean, what they're pretty much saying is that they're not going to give up their enrichment program.
To that kind of phase negotiation.
Well, only because it's been reported. I will confirm the president has met with his national security team this morning. The meeting may be ongoing, maybe not. I don't want to speak affirmatively because I was prepping to come out here. But the proposal was being discussed. I don't want to get ahead of the president or his national security team. What I will reiterate is that the president's red lines with respect to Iran have been made very, very clear, not just to the American public, but also to them as well.
So they're considering it.
I wouldn't say they're considering it. I would just say that there was a discussion this morning that I don't want to get ahead of, and you'll hear directly from the president, I'm sure, on this topic very soon.
I'm going to ask you about the Fed chairman, but first, 3 assassination attempts in 3 years. Is this going to change the type of events that the president goes to?
Well, again, that's going to be part of the conversations moving forward. But as you heard from President Trump, he does not want these deranged lunatics and these grave acts of political violence to change our American way of life. And I think it's a very brave thing for him to say. It'd be very easy for him to just hunker down here at the White House where he knows he's safe. But the president wants to be out across the country. He wants to go across the country to meet with Americans. He wants to celebrate the 250th birthday of our nation's anniversary this summer. As you know, we're gearing up for a big UFC fight here on the South Lawn. So there's many exciting events I know the president wants to be part of and will be part of moving forward. He's undeterred in that way, and it's something that inspires all of us here to keep going.
Senator Tillis is now dropping his objection to allowing Kevin Warsh to be confirmed because the DOJ has closed their investigation. Is the president satisfied that an inspector general report into the Federal Reserve is enough to look into these renovations?
The president understands that the inspector general has greater tools at their disposal, perhaps even more powerful than a grand jury, to continue investigating the financial mismanagement of the Fed building, which is a priority for.
All right, I don't know why they just don't let it go, bro. Let it go. James Powell is gonna get away with it, even if he did overspend. It is what it is. Trump's going like he spent $2 billion. I'd have finished it with 24 million. Now you know what? I would ask Trump, are you counting for inflation? You know. Are you accounting for inflation? Because maybe you talk about 25 million back in your day. But here's the problem. I don't really think, Jerome Powell's overspending on the Fed building is that honestly that big of a problem. Like, let's actually get to, I don't know, affordability, ending this war that's making affordability harder on Americans. I mean, that would help. That'd be something better to focus on instead of Powell.
For the president. Look, he's a builder himself. When he sees something has a lot of cost overruns, is taking too long, and in this case, ripping off the American taxpayer, he wants to get to the bottom of it. I understand Senator Tillis put out a statement saying he'll support Kevin Warsh's confirmation. That has been our position all along from day one. He is more than qualified for the job, and we look forward to working with the Senate on his swift confirmation process.
Oh, guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up. Appreciate the support. And make sure you're double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. Way to push the video and get more people in on the conversation.
Megan.
As a follow-up on Warsh, will the president be satisfied once the Fed's inspector general finishes that investigation, even if it finds no evidence of wrongdoing?
Well, that's a hypothetical question. I'll let the president speak on it when we see the results. It's obviously far too early to say.
And relatedly, as a follow-up, now that it looks like Warsh will be confirmed by the end of Jay Powell's term, is he still considering firing Jay Powell if he stays on as governor after that?
I haven't talked to him about it specifically, but I think the president will be satisfied once Kevin Warsh is confirmed as the Fed chair, which he should be. Karen.
On Iran, the president had said last week that the U.S. has started the process of clearing the Strait of Hormuz of mines. Do you have an update on how many have been removed and an estimate of how long that process could take?
I don't, but I would defer you to the Pentagon on that. We'll make sure they get you an answer, Karen.
It's an ongoing process, though. It's still actually
too late. They already gave us an answer. They said it's going to take months to remove all the mines at the Strait of Hormuz. And until then, we'd have to use a coordinated route coordinated by Iran.
Happening right now.
Again, I would defer you to the Pentagon on anything with respect to clearing mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
I know that you said that the White House is reviewing the security protocols for things that could be done differently in the future. Have you identified anything so far that you would like to see done differently?
I kind of like grilling people like you. So what, did you vote for Biden? Did you know Biden was going to let, millions of people cross the border? Did you know Biden was going to allow a genocide in Gaza? Did you know Biden was going to support the Ukrainian war that's leading to hundreds of thousands of lost Ukrainian lives? Did you know that? Oh, you must have, because you voted for him, right? So you supported all of that. You supported all the reckless taking of life, right? Okay, then calm down.
Differently, or ask the
Like
Secret
that, never
Service
really
to make
think
any
that's-
changes in the security protocols for the president, particularly at these large events that are taking place off the White House campus?
Not yet, no, but as I said, there will be a meeting here at the White House in the earlier half of this week. So those conversations will take place.
And on the line of succession.
And I would also
Right.
just add, look, the Secret Service does not detail their procedures or operations to the public for obvious reasons, because you have crazy people who try to hijack them and get around them. So these conversations will take place in private, but if adjustments need to be made to protect the president, they will be made.
Then, bro, then you're not even in the conversation. You're just kind of the dude who sat on the sideline trying to make judgment on the people who's actually playing the game. You're a bench player, bro. Stay that way.
Like it does, for instance, with a joint address to Congress for these large events and designating someone as the designated survivor for future large events that the cabinet attends.
Well, those conversations ahead of the walk of dinner did take place, but there were several members of—
I'm sorry, but if you didn't vote, don't say anything to the people who did. I'm sorry. Like that, I think that's fair. Is that not fair? If you didn't vote, don't say anything to the people that did. I don't care who you voted for, Biden or Trump. I really don't. But if you don't deserve to have any criticism if you sat on the sideline.
the cabinet in the line of succession who did not attend for various personal reasons. So designating one survivor was not necessary, as we had several members who were not there already.
Caroline, all the people forced to dive under tables and fearing for their lives on Saturday night, including many of the people in this room, myself included. What is the president's message to those people who experienced that terrible trauma and maybe are still fearful today?
I think he would say, as he sort of did on Saturday night, coming in here in his tuxedo, we can't allow these crazy people to let us be afraid. We have to keep moving forward, showing up, doing our job, celebrating our country, and doing what we know is right. But certainly we'd like to see the rhetoric against this president and his supporters toned down, because it is inspiring these crazy people across the country to target not just the president, but those who work for him and those who support him. And it must end.
Is he following the arraignment of the suspect today?
Yes, he is. And I know you all want to follow that too. It's happening.
But here's the thing, though. People actually do want Trump to die. So they're going to keep on going with this rhetoric and see if they can convince more people to do what they're too afraid to do. Isn't that hilarious? I mean, the same pundits that you guys are listening to, radicalizing you guys to hate Trump and all this good stuff. I mean, they're not going to do half the shit you do. It's almost like what I was saying with the ICE protests. Like, all the politicians that are fueling you guys to go out to these protests and hurt and get yourselves hurt are sitting back in their mansions laughing at you idiots, going like, look at these dumbasses go against ICE. Like, I'm sorry, but yes, the same people that are pushing you to hate ICE and you go out there and you're risking your life, your safety, they're kicking it in their mansion, calling you a dumbass. Just
in a few minutes, so I'll let you all go. The Department of Justice is also going to be speaking momentarily following the arraignment, and I pray that this is the last time I speak to you for some time until after my maternity leave. So thank you guys.
I'm weak. No, Rambo, I'm not going to censor your comment. I'm just going to make you look stupid, because here's the problem. I mean, like I said, did you even vote? Who'd you vote for? Because like I said, it's guys like you who like to make that comment. And then when I hit you with the, okay, so were you okay with everything that Biden was doing? Knowing damn well you're not. So with that logic, did you vote for a genocide? Did you vote for a proxy war with Russia? Did you vote for the reckless handling of our border? No. So like I said, you can't sit there and use that against Trump supporters if you're not willing to take that same accountability with yourself. And I know what you're going to say, because it's what a lot of cowards say. Well, I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for nobody. Okay, then sit your ass on the sideline then. And don't talk to the people who are playing in the game. But you can stay, though. All right, though. Let me go ahead and get over to Trump here. He had to do a 60-minute interview. It was kind of crazy how he did it, after the shooting. Boom, on 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes Overtime.
Mr. President, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're safe. I am glad that everyone is safe. How are you doing?
Bro, I'm against Israel too. So, oh my God. See, that's what I'm saying, bro. It'd be people who didn't even vote who have the most to say.
I'm doing well. It was quite an evening. It was a very difficult thing to watch, frankly, but doing very well.
Mm-hmm. Mr. President, do you know if you were the target of the gunman?
I don't know. It sounded to me, I read a manifesto. He's radicalized. He was a Christian, a believer, and then he became an anti-Christian. And he had a lot of change. He's been going through a lot based on what he wrote. His brother complained about him, and I think reported him to the police, and his sister.
Hey, shout out to my man Tom Brewer. He says, "Do you think it was staged?" Nah, no. I can't see any like evidence of that, to be quite honest with you. But here's the thing, I like to put on the tinfoil hat every now and then. So I'll play along with you on this one. Well, I'm not saying that you're saying it, but I'm gonna play along with the idea. It is a bit strange how, when these assassination attempts come around, it kind of make people like gather around Trump. When his numbers look low, these assassination attempts happen. And, it happened with Ryan Routh and now this guy. Now with Butler, it actually boosted his numbers. When he got shot, people were going like, I'm not even gonna lie, bro won. That was absolute cinema. So I can see why people say it's staged, because these assassination attempts actually happen to, believe it or not, work out for Trump. So I see why people say it's staged, but I don't see any proof of it being staged. So I'm not going to go that far.
Likewise complained about him. His family was very concerned. He was probably a pretty sick guy.
Oh. But shout out to Tom, though, bro. Appreciate the support.
And I want to get to all of those details and also walk through what happened last night. But first, this appears to be the third attempted assassination on your life. The first in Butler, the second, of course, on the golf course in Florida. Why do you think so many people may be trying to kill you?
So I've said it, and I've said it numerous times, and I've actually, because of the position I'm in, I've done quite a bit of research. And
yo, team hype, I'm sorry, but most presidents are a spoiled rich brat. I mean, Obama was a spoiled rich brat. He went to a high school that was like what, $10,000 a year, maybe, I think more than that, in Hawaii. Bro, Joe Biden, pretty silver spoon in his mouth, my friend. So it's kind of funny how you're sitting there calling out Trump for being a spoiled brat when, be real with you, most of our current presidents have been spoiled brats. Like, let's just keep it real. Actually, most of them came from money. I hope you would not forget that.
To the word assassination, terrible.
It's hilarious how y'all say that, though.
And they go after consequential presidents. They go after presidents that do things. If you look at what I've done, we've turned this country around. We've taken a country that was actually a dead country. It was dying very rapidly, and it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. We had a skirmish, a war, whatever you want to call it, with Venezuela. We won that very decisively, and we now have a great relationship with Venezuela. It's been a very profitable relationship, and we're in Iran right now. Other presidents should have done it, but they never chose to do it. They should have.
No. It's not that they didn't have, not that they didn't have the balls to do it. Is that they kind of knew that getting into it, one of the most formidable country in the Middle East, is just not a good idea. Trying to treat them like they're Venezuela or trying to treat them like they're Iraq or Afghanistan